All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our Apogee Advantage webinar series. Today we have our friends over at Counterpart who will be presenting on their miscellaneous professional and management liability appetite. Any questions you have, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll make sure we get to them as soon as we can. And without further ado, here's the Counterpart team for you.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm excited to go over Counterpart. We'll start just give you an overview of Counterpart, but also you will at the end of this be able to access our portal and actually begin submitting directly to us. So and we'll have instructions on how to do that in here. But if you have questions, again, ask throughout. If we are unable to answer them on the call today, we can absolutely follow up with you. We'll just give you a brief intro to who's on the call today. Because I'm already speaking, I'll go first. But Ryan Capra, head of broker services here at Counterpart. I've been here about 3.5 years. Counterpart's about 5+ years old, but I lead a lot of our broker services offering, including our digital portal, which you now have access to. So excited to introduce you guys to that. And then I'll hand it over to Brian. Brian, you want to just introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm Brian Basili, one of the professional liability underwriters here at Counterpart. Been with the company for about 2 years, and I live in Boulder, Colorado. And then we also have Katie, one of our other PL underwriters here too.
Awesome. Trying to make sure that I'm not on mute. Okay, cool. Awesome, cool. And Brian, I think you were our first PL underwriter, is that right?
Technically the second, but one of the early ones for sure.
All right, cool. So yeah. All right, great. So we'll give you just a brief introduction to Counterpart. You may be familiar with us, especially considering I think we're also on the Affinity Advisors platform as well, which I know you guys are leveraging. So Counterpart, we're about 5 years old. We're an insurtech, so we do leverage a ton of technology. Our team, like half of our company, is really a tech team on top of insurance, and so. We are an MGA, so we write our papers on Markel, Westfield, Aspen, and I think also State National. We specialize in management and professional liability we offer our products in all 50 states. Small business, when you say small business, we're up to 500 employees today. Private and non-for-profit companies up to 350 mil in revenues, and we do on the ML side, we offer admitted and non-admitted, and on the PL side, it's a non-admitted product, which we'll get more into in a moment. You will see this all over our marketing, and I just want to explain what it is. So we use this term agentic insurance. Essentially, we leverage a ton of technology in order for us to underwrite our policies as quickly as possible with the best data possible. And so I think that there's sometimes a stigma around insurtechs. I think that one thing that I want to emphasize is that we have people behind our technology. So we have Katie and we have Brian and we have a team of underwriters that support all of our technology. So when you're using our portal, there's also a team of people behind it too, and they can support you if you run into any issues. So, but leveraging technology allows us to quote better and faster. One of the things, you guys will have access to the portal. This is actually new functionality. So we are wholesale only, but Apogee, we recently released new functionality where you can access our products via Apogee. And so you will be able to actually go in and submit on your own. And then when you want to bind, you would just contact the team at Apogee and they would be able to facilitate that. We'll get into more of that, but yeah, our platform is something that's available to you and allows us to underwrite. Risk mitigation services. So not only do we offer insurance coverage, right? We also offer risk mitigation services. And specifically for EPL right now, I think there's some other services that we offer for MPL actually, but we offer what's called zero HR, and this is included with every EPL policy, where we offer legal services and HR services, where you can talk to an attorney and ask questions. And this is available with every EPL policy. And so it's actually, if you're ever want to look it up, it's zerohr.com. This is actually a Counterpart company. Again, we're a tech company, so we leverage a lot of tools in order for us to offer these services. But this is included with every EPL policy. We do have a risk assessment tool, which you'll actually see when we log into the platform in a little bit. You'll be able to see where you can request a risk assessment, which is something that you can put in front of your in front of those small businesses to be able to highlight the different risks that are associated with their business. And we also released an insights report recently too, which we can send over to you too. Lastly, before we get into the product stuff, claims management. So we actually manage our claims in-house. Our team is growing like weeds, which is really exciting. And again, we leverage a lot of technology in order for us to be able to respond to initial inquiries and also close out claims much quicker than what you would see with a lot of other carriers, which is kind of cool. So. But I want to highlight that we can send over additional marketing materials on each of these guys, but the meat and potatoes of this is really to go over some of our products. So I want to jump right into that. And so we'll talk about professional liability, and I'm going to hand it over. I'm going to pause real quick just to see if there's any questions before we deep dive into products. I'm getting a nod. No, we're good to go. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So Brian, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So our first product here for PL at Counterpart was MPL. Typically, what we're looking for and targeting here is under 20 million revenues. We have the capacity to go up to 100 million revenues, but most of what we see is going to be under 20 mil. So more of that small business stuff. Our base form offers 1 mil of contingent BIPD. We typically will go off with the full limit, but depending on the class, we will sublimit it or exclude it. More often sublimiting it. So, for example, home inspectors, we'll typically sublimit to like 100K BIPD. Our base form also includes 250K of media, no hammer clause, and on the next slide, I believe we'll talk about some of the other enhancements that we have too.
Yeah, Brian, this is just a general overview, but we can get into the appetite, these guys real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can go up to 5 mil limits. Typically, we're being selective there. So, it's what we have capacity for, but, we're not just throwing out 5 mil limits left and right. And the big thing that we have with our MPL product is we package with GL. So a lot of classes we're packaging with GL, the majority of classes. The main ones that we're not packaging with GL are on event planners is the one we hear a lot, and property managers, we don't do the GL. So if it's more heavy GL exposure, right, that's probably could be something that they need a monoline GL policy or more of a commercial policy for. But a lot of these small MPL we're packaging with the PLGL.
Cool.
Yes, here's a recent win list. Appetite is pretty broad, so this is not all encompassing. We write out, like I said, we write out a lot of PLGL on home inspectors, pilot cars, a lot of consultants that need it for a contract, photography, bookkeeping. A lot of that more office exposure. So these are some of the recent wins that we've had. But some of the other tricky classes that we write, we can consider TPAs, we can do M&A, business brokers. medical billing, medical practice management, and like I said, pretty broad appetite. And one of the things that we really pride ourselves on here at Counterpart is we're pretty flexible. So, we manuscript the definition of professional services. We type it in every single time, so we can really customize it to what the insured is actually doing. And that goes too with if they need special endorsements, we can certainly work with you guys there to manuscript and be flexible when needed.
Any questions? No? All right. Cool. If you think of any questions, you have the experts on the line for PL. So want to emphasize that. You'll also see, we're not going to dive into it today, but we can send over additional materials. On our PL side, we also have allied health. I will say that our portal is not really optimized right now to support allied health. So I would say if you do have those submissions that you can send them directly to the Apogee team and they can submit them on your behalf. But as far as portal goes, MPL, you absolutely can. And then we'll also get into ML as well. If there's no questions, which it seems like we're in good shape. Okay. So we do offer, I didn't want to deep dive into this because I know that the primary purpose of this webinar specifically was to talk about, our PL solutions, but I did want to just emphasize that we do have other products on the management side, which we alluded to earlier, and that includes D&O, EPL, fiduciary, and crime. I know that our MPL product is on the Affinity platform, but you will have access to, with our portal, access to all these products. With a 250 at max limit, there's more information. I'll show you specifically. These are the target industries, which is pretty expansive. I think we have a pretty wide range. Again, we do support all 50 states, so we can write in all 50 states. And this product is again, we do offer an admitted product and also a surplus product. So I'm just giving you some briefly. Just wanted you to see our kind of our complete product set. So cool. Well, if there's no questions, this is actually good because then we can save the other half of this time to actually jump into the portal. I'll give you a brief overview of the portal, then I'll do a demo, and then I'll show you how you can get started. Some of you guys I know, I think, have already registered to get access, so you should be able to log in, but I believe most of you may not be able to just yet. So the Counterpart portal, there's some things to highlight in here. We're a tech company, so we want to be able to provide instant quotes as much as possible. I think that's, you're pretty used to that as far as using portals. So we do offer instant quotes for submissions that may not qualify for instant quotes. It does still get into our queue, and it's referred to one of our underwriters and prioritized, so the turnaround time is fairly quick. So if it doesn't get instant quoted, it will get reviewed, and you will get email notifications with updates on these submissions. So when it does get quoted, you'll get a notification. You can log in and review that quote. It'll also include that quote in that email notification. The one thing that I think is a little bit unique about our portal is that we use a lot of AI tools, which I'll show you shortly, where you don't have to fill out everything within the application, especially like if you have a PDF application or other documentation, we can extract data from that. And so I'll show you how that works. But we're really trying to make the process as seamless as possible in order to submit to us, but also provide as much information as you can too. We also have, like I mentioned earlier, risk assessment that you can request first for your applications, where you can use that along with other material, like the quote material, and that will help measure or help help you sell essentially whichever product you know that's being quoted. You can it'll basically call out based on the industry and the state that they're in. It'll basically categorize different risks that are associated with that business, and then you can leverage that and put that in front of your clients. There's also claims tracking. It's very high level right now. We plan on building out this more, but if one of your policies does have a claim on it, it will appear in your dashboard, and you'll be actually be able to see it on the claims page. It'll just show you that if it's open or closed, and for which policy. And I'll just give you some visuals before we jump in, but essentially this is what the portal will look like. You will be able to download, appetite guides. So we're constantly updating our appetite and expanding our appetite. So if you're curious, you'll also we're pretty good about updating the Apogee team to let them know, if we've expanded our appetite. And I know that they're constantly sending marketing material to you too, about all their markets. So we'll make sure that they're aware of any changes. But you'll be able to start applications and keep track of applications in here. Again, I mentioned the smart tools. So there's some AI extractor tools. So if you do have like a PDF or documents that were submitted or shared with you from the applicant, you can actually just drag and drop those directly into our portal. And instead of having to manually fill out that information, and I'll demo that for you in a moment. There's also some tools where, based on the information provided, we'll actually guess, or not really guess, but we'll do some research on the back end to be able to predict what the industry or service or website is based on certain data points that you've already put in the application. And then when you're viewing quotes, you can make adjustments. So sometimes we'll present multiple options for a quote. You can often select different limits and retentions directly in the platform. But then once you get past the quote stage, it's really, if you do want to bind that policy, the best, technically there is additional functionality. We're doing some changes there. So I'd recommend just partnering with the Apogee team, and then they would be able to advise on next steps and facilitate that process of actually binding. Cool. I've done enough slides. I think you're probably ready to see what we're talking about. So I'm going to jump over into our portal just so you can see what it looks like. Actually, before I do that, so to request access to the portal, it's actually directly on the Apogee website. You can go to quote online, and then you'll see these different tools here, right? If you click on learn more, this page right here on the right-hand side, sign up for Counterpart. This will actually send us a notification and we'll add you into the portal. So you can, and then you'll receive an email invite, which you can click on, set a password, and then it will log you into our portal. When you log in, you'll see this screen. It won't have anything here because you guys will be brand new to it. But this is really where you'll be able to start submitting. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking. I know you guys are familiar with portals. So, but as I had mentioned, you'll be able to manage all your accounts or submissions on the accounts page. You won't see the retail agents piece because that's something that Apogee would see on their end, but you will see the claims tab here. And if there are any claims on any of the policies, you'll be able to see them here. You'll also get emails on some of that stuff too. Risk assessment. This is where you can actually request a risk assessment, typically generated within 24 hours, usually less than that. This would ultimately, this is just a test account, but ultimately you would send a request to our team. We'll generate it based on, certain data points and put together. It's usually about a 5-page report. That's something that you can review beforehand. And if you want to share it with the applicant, you can do that. But the most interesting part of this, of course, is how you submit. So at the top right, you can see where it says Start App. If I click on that, this is where it will bring you to our digital application. And now again, you have the ability to fill out every field that's on this page, but you'll also notice that there's oftentimes some little green icons throughout the application that will indicate that it's kind of an AI tool that we have added. So in this case, it says AI application extractor. So if you do have a PDF application, you can actually, instead of manually filling out those fields, you can just drag and drop that application. I'm gonna click over here and just show you an example. So here's a third-party app, and I'm just gonna blow this up so you can see it. So you can see that it's handwritten. What we're going to do is we're going to extract the data from this. And not a ton of information included on this, but we will extract it. So I'm going to drag, drop it right in here, hit extract. And then what it's going to do, take it about 60 seconds for it to scan that application and extract the data from it. But while it's doing that, I'll just note, so you can see this where it says like, it has like green, yellow, and red. This ultimately just indicates that level of confidence that we have in the data that we've extracted. So throughout the application, we're going to highlight specific fields that we pre-filled based on the data that was in that application. And we're going to give you a confidence score based on those colors. And so it'll go through, and I'm going to jump over just because I don't want to, I'll let that go, but load. But what it'll do is then as you're going through the application, you can see this is our MPL application. There's general info. I will say one thing to call out here is that anything with an asterisk on the page is required. And so some of these questions are not required. You can see I'm on the miscellaneous professional page and it says professional service. So that's required. Revenue last year. I will say that, you know, more information, the better. We want to provide a quote, but we also want to provide a competitive quote. And the more information you share, the better that we can quote that and provide coverage. But you'll be able to. But you aren't required to fill out every question within this application. I would love for you to, and I know Brian and Katie would absolutely love that. But you don't need to. But I will say what will help is dragging and dropping that you know, a full application that may be filled out. But you can see, I just jumped back to the application because I wanted to, you know, give you some visuals while that was loading, but you can see we extracted the name of the business. What I'm going to have to do is actually select the service, but it pulled in the address, not super certain. So it's like, hey, just double check that. Looks right to me. So we're in good shape. But you can also, maybe there wasn't a website included in the submission. What you can do is you can do find website and it will actually scan based on the data points that are above here. It'll scan that and recommend this website. And it'll also recommend the correct industry code or NICS code and based on the data points that we've already collected from the application. We can actually generate these not even when you use this feature, even just by filling out these fields, you will have the ability to leverage these fields as well, which is kind of cool, or these tools. But kind of neat, this is nerding out a little bit, but you can see alternative NICS codes. But you can see we selected this one, but hey, maybe that's not the right one. And you can see the other ones that are similar, and then you can select those if for some reason we did get it wrong. I want to note one other thing before I go into the next page. Broker notes here. If you have, you know, oftentimes when you are submitting things via email, there's additional context and more information that may not be specific to, a field that's included within our application. This is the best place for you to share that information. Brian and Katie love it because it gives them additional context and again, helps them to get as competitive with, price-wise and also with coverage. So sharing that additional insight here is super, super helpful. I'm going to pause. I can't see any questions, but maybe there is. Maybe there's not. I don't know. No? Okay. All right, cool. I'm getting the nod. All right, cool. Again, the asterisk questions are the ones that are required, but as much information as possible filled out. It's pretty quick as far as like going through it. I will say once you do, this one's kind of neat. This is specifically, Lori asks, will they receive a copy of the webinar? I'm getting a nod. Yes, maybe.
Yes, everyone will get a recording.
Cool. Good question, Laurie. Thank you. This is more for D&O coverage, but we do absolutely, Larry. This is more for D&O coverage, but it does help with all product lines. But AI extractor tools. So for D&O, oftentimes financials are really helpful in order for us to quote. And so if you get a financial statement, what you can do, boom, you can just drag and drop that. And what it will do is it will pre-fill those questions, or excuse me, pre-fill those fields directly. You can see they're all highlighted in greens because we have a high level of confidence based on that financial statement. But you can see there's one operating income or loss. Not 100% sure this is accurate, so you just want to like double check the PDF. If it's not, you can remove it. This field isn't specifically required, so not a huge deal. But once you get to, of course, I'm in the QA environment, so we're getting some like errors. But you can, as you're going through this, again, you can add additional documentation if you have it. But once you're good to go, you basically go to the application review page and you'll check it off. What will happen is once it's quoted, it will look like this. So you'll be able to see, and again, in some cases, it'll say, hey, this is going to an underwriter for review. In other cases, you'll get an instant quote back. If you get an instant quote back, it'll immediately bring you to this page where you'll be able to see the coverage. If you added GL to it, you'll see GL on here as well. But you can see the different coverage options here, and you can update the limit and retention directly in here. You also have the ability to just download the documents directly from this. So you can note if you want both options to show in the quote PDFs, you can actually just check them. And therefore, when you click quote, it'll actually export both quotes in there. If you only want one, you can just uncheck that. And so you'll have quote the application. So anything that was filled out, it will actually give you an exported version of that data, that information that you filled out in the platform. You'll have that, and then you'll also have access to our policy specimen, so you can get into the weeds on the coverage there. Pausing. We're basically 1 minute out. Any questions? Gosh, quiet crew. Lori, thank you for asking. I just want to note again where you get started. So if you go to the Apogee website, click quote online, click on Counterpart and sign up for Counterpart. You fill out that little form. We'll get a notification and add you into the portal. You'll get an email with an invite. If you have questions about coverage, about a quote, you can reach out to the Apogee team, but you can also reach out to us directly at support@yourcounterpart.com. That'll go to our team. We'll make sure that we, answer any of those questions. And then if you have questions about, like appetite, that sort of stuff, you can send those to support@yourcounterpart.com. If you're like, cool, I'm good with this quote, I want to bind, info@apogeeinsuranceGroup.com, and they will be able to facilitate the bind process and make sure that all the documentation is in good shape. Cool. Cool. That is all I got. Thank you guys. I appreciate your time. And Ashley, is there anything else you want to note, or are we in good shape?
I think we're in good shape. I just put the direct link for our Counterpart webpage in the chat, and also the Apogee info box email. And I know somebody asked how to make a payment, so I'll put that link in there as well for how to make a payment on our website. Any additional questions? Like Ryan said, you can reach out to Counterpart or you can reach out to Apogee, whatever works for you. If anything doesn't fit within Counterpart's appetite, Apogee is always here to help. We have other markets that we can reach out to as well. But obviously, Counterpart is a great tool. This portal is amazing. So we really would love for you to sign up, make use of it, and get to quoting.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Let us know if you need anything.
Of
Otherwise,
course.
we'll talk soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. You all will get a recording of this webinar by tomorrow for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.